What's up, gamers and friends? Welcome back for more good vibes and video games. In today's video, I am finally watching God of War Raising Kratos full-length feature PS4 documentary. Ever since I watched that video and reacted to it, the background of Kratos, basically a summary of all the events of the past 3 games before God of War 2018, which I was playing at the time of reacting to that video. I did that because I wanted to kind of get a better idea of Kratos' background, like where he came from, and just like that whole story. I understand it's not a replacement for just playing the original 3 games, but that's all I kind of had time for. I do want to go back and play them eventually though. Ever since that reaction video to Kratos' past, I had an overwhelming amount of people telling me that this was a fantastic movie documentary, and I love documentaries. It's probably one of my favorite movie genres in general. Just, I love informational things. I love, you know, just cramming my head full of as much knowledge as I can. And then obviously it's even better when it's about something that I love and adore. And oh my gosh, I adored the crap out of God of War 2018. Speaking of God of War Ragnarok also just dropped today as of recording this video, November 9th at 1 o'clock on the dot. That's scary. I, however, knew a year in advance that I was going to be out of town this weekend. At that point though, I did not know when the release day for God of War was, nor did I think that I was going to be able to pick up a PlayStation 5, which I have finally purchased one. I'm so excited. I didn't know that I was going to have a PlayStation 5 by this weekend a year ago either. So we finally got a release day for God of War, and I realized that was the same weekend I was going out of town. So I will not be able to pick up the game day one and play it right away as much as I want to. So avoiding spoilers on the internet is going to be a really fun time. But watching this documentary was something that a lot of people were recommending me to do before jumping into Ragnarok. So since I couldn't kind of follow everybody with the hype right away for God of War Ragnarok, the game, I figured this is one way to hold myself over until I'm finally able to get my hands on that game. Which also, real quick before I watch this movie, okay, I'm sorry, I'll speed up. Ever since finishing God of War 2018, I have completely just fallen down the rabbit hole of Norse mythology stuff, and I'm currently reading the audiobook for Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman, and I am so incredibly obsessed. I honestly didn't think I'd get this interested in Norse mythology, but here we are. It's almost now I just get all of this stuff to experience all at the same time, and I just have this backlog of things I want to do and watch and learn about because I find this stuff so incredibly interesting. My plan is to watch the full video and hopefully edit next to nothing and posting as much of the full length, even though it's 2 hours, the full length video on my YouTube channel. All right, I realize I'm talking a lot. Okay, let's just jump in and watch God of War Raising Kratos.
What do I want to say with this story? Yeah? What do you want to say with this story? What do you think? What do you think about this story?
They're so cute.
I think running away is what I want to say with this. You know, change is possible.
What? That was intense.
Fuck me, man. I could see it in everybody's eyes that they were just like, we're not gonna make it. And then everyone's still treating it like, you know what? We'll just see. And I'm like, no. Like, in my mind, I get it. I see what you guys are telling me. I'm not gonna let myself believe we're gonna make the date now.
The gods of Olympus have abandoned me.
Ooh. Oh, is this a cutscene from the older games? I could like feel the energy in that room and I'm not even there.
Telling jaw-dropping action sequences, not to mention a quick and brutal lesson on Greek mythology.
Ares! Burn this village! Burn it to the ground!
I want to play those games.
We're talking about one of the most iconic characters in the history of video games.
I must have missed out, man. I mean, I'm glad I'm finding it now because look at all the stuff I get to play.
So I don't know what the demographic is of women that play these games as opposed to men. I'm guessing that the ratio is probably like 9 to 1.
Right here, I'm one of them, and proud. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the creative directors of the God of War franchise. What exactly does a game director do?
Make magic. Magic! That's what they do.
He or she has to be able to play the game from beginning to end in their head.
Grabbing people and throwing people around, and like you get that sense of empowerment, you know, like nothing can stop you.
Especially
what a crazy thought and perspective.
With the exception of a couple of us had any idea what it was.
So to me, a God of War game is about the action, it's about the rage.
It's about the story.
On God of War 2, he expanded the story of Kratos, deepening the saga and turning it into a legend. Please welcome Cory Barlog.
A lot of the time, we have no clue what we're talking about. I mean, there are a lot of leaps that you make in this job where you're like, all right, look, I kind of know what I want, but sometimes you're discovering as you go.
How did you guys become game directors?
For me, it was just a Cory quit.
Yeah, I quit, so he quit, so I got it. So really, all you gotta do is find somebody to quit.
Few games embody the definition of epic quite like God of War. So it's disappointing that the release of Ascension brings with it a whiff of a series that's treading water rather than driving forward.
So is that one worth a playthrough?
So I guess killing people solves problems.
I guess that's up to the person, though. Woo! I forgot that was like only the introduction.
No, Cory with an E is sitting here. Cory without an E isn't sitting at this table. Oh, that is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. I am an 80s television star. But that's all right. We'll let this one slide.
They seem so cool. I wish I could be on a team of people like that.
For me, this was a very long journey. We were in a tough time within the studio, and there was a lot of emphasis that we as a team were putting on rebooting this franchise and what does that mean. And there's a lot of risk just in that one sort of concept.
This is giving me a thought. I just really want to say this real fast. Already, I'm only 5 minutes into it, and I already think it's going to be one of the coolest documentaries I think I've ever seen. So I think it's very important for people to share perspectives, especially when they think it's like something that they really need to share with people. Because as a consumer, as a player of the games that these people are making, but I know that I only see a very one-sided perspective on the creative process behind making really anything entertainment related, but specifically in this case, video games. I think we're always so quick to judge and so quick to put things down when even the tiniest things are wrong, or maybe even like big things, but I think we forget too that the people behind these games are people and are human beings with feelings, and you know, they're making mistakes, and that's how they learn, and that's how we get better games, is they make mistakes and then they learn from it. But we as consumers, I feel like, don't always allow them the space to make these mistakes, which can be really hard for people in their position. And I think it's going to be really important for documentaries, like this to exist, because this is a great way for us, the people that maybe don't understand exactly what they go through, for us to get a little bit of empathy for them and to kind of enjoy the process with them as they're creating these games too. So that's my 2 cents on that. I can already tell that this documentary is going to be extremely eye-opening, extremely emotional, I'm sure, because of all the stuff that they're going to share with us. Ooh, I love stuff like this. I love when people share their stories. All right, I'll leave it at that. Let's keep watching.
As Cory and you guys know, it's not as easy as it sounds.
First position, playback, action, and then cut, reset. We will do our thing, and then go back into first position, playback, action. Does anybody want to write that down for me? Because I feel like I'm going to mess it up.
I would have to be writing that down. There's no way I'd remember that.
Before he came back to the studio, I could tell he was a completely different person. He had gotten married, was a father, and he was telling a completely different story, just, you know, as Cory Barlog.
I know that what we wanted to do was not going to just be make another God of War game. Knowing that, we knew that same old Kratos, rage-filled.
Have you ever seen hair so perfect in your life? Like, I have not.
started thinking about this idea that if Kratos ever got a second chance, you know, this idea of like when I had a kid, I feel like my perspective on everything changed.
What an interesting perspective for him to take now, because of the driving theme of God of War 2018 is the relationship between Kratos and Atreus.
Action.
And being a parent in real life, I bet you that has a direct effect.
Means the world to Santa Monica Studio. I mean, this is something that, hold on, my pocket's buzzing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You're
sorry.
definitely keeping that.
It was Shannon's idea to go find Corey again and bring him back as one of the original vision holders of the whole world that was God of War, and give him time to really try to come up with, how do we reinvent this franchise? How can we just make it not just bigger and better and the same, but bigger and better and different?
After Ascension, they did this thing to check how the audience felt about God of War, right? The overwhelming vibe was that they were done with Kratos.
What?
Kratos either needed to go away or needed a fresh start.
You're kidding me. I thought he was just one of those, from the outside, I always assumed he was one of those characters you couldn't get rid of.
It's exactly what people think of Kratos right now, which is just like, ah! You know, like there's no like intelligent conversation like that. You just like rip your head off. Like, how do you feel? Like, and you just rip your head off. Like there's one dimension to this character, which was awesome as the anti-hero of the first game, but it didn't really grow. We didn't go anywhere with it.
I was very excited, partly because I had been on God of War 1, 2, and 3, so I was ready for something new. And I was very excited that it was going to be futuristic, they're going to have guns, we're going to do something completely different.
But yeah, the first time was getting everybody up there while they were still working on the other project. And I think it was, a lot of people were wondering what we were doing because it was a small team and it was just high vision, like what are we going to do? And really kind of just throwing
It's
a bunch of
always
stuff
been
at
the
board.
center of God of War. Narrative,
Leadership had made some decisions around.
It's so
the
interesting
growth
to
of
get
the
a look
studio
into their
and how
world.
we would remain competitive. And one of those decisions was turning ourselves into what we called a 1.5 team. And that would mean that you would have two larger IP development going on within the roof of Santa Monica Studio, and those teams would share resources back and forth.
I feel like it'd be fun to go into work every day. Like that would be a fun job, I think, I hope. I'm sure there's parts of it, you know, like every job there's ups and downs, but I feel like it'd be fun.
Lots of reverb.
And that's really important to me, is having fun. He's so cute! That kid looks like me every morning, just like super tired, like, eh.
I think this is a crazy great opportunity. I'm sure all you guys are totally overwhelmed like I am with how incredibly large this place is. But I think it just shows that Sony has a really deep commitment to Santa Monica Studios, and we want this place to grow, and we want you guys to be someplace special.
That's actually really touching. They believe in them so much that they bought them this like massive facility.
You want me to talk about what it would be like if it failed?
Well,
It didn't.
I mean, yeah.
I say we don't
Like,
focus on
really
that.
where it comes from is what's at stake. Because it's like,
Yeah.
that's part of the business.
Yeah.
You know,
It is part of the business, and you know, if any franchise were to fail on, you know, on an epic scale, like just not deliver at all, of course there'd be ramifications.
That would suck, man. I couldn't imagine.
Layoffs unfortunately hit Sony Santa Monica Studio today. The Sony-owned exclusive developer, founded in 1999, is best known for its God of War games. The extent of the damage remains unclear, though there are indications that one of the projects the studio was working on has been canceled alongside this round of layoffs.
Oh, the poor people that lost their jobs. I couldn't even imagine. I was not expecting to like get emotional. Yes, I am. Yes, I did. What am I saying? Dude, that is devastating.
It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do in development, is when you sink your heart and soul into something and you realize it's not coming together the way we wanted it to. That was kind of the abyss for that team.
But for us, we kind of had our heads down. We were just like, okay, we had a timeline, and that timeline felt pretty good. That other game was going. We were kind of like, okay, cool, we'll kind of trail them, draft, know when we can get people on. And then when things were not working out, and kind of the big sort of halt happened on the project, we had to suddenly say,
we're about to get 110 people.
It was in a dire position, right? Because you're in that state where you don't have anything to keep people busy. But we were in no way ready for 110 or 120 people that we inherited.
I think for me it was just that, again, perseverance of coming in here and putting one foot in front of the next to make sure that tomorrow is a good day for everyone.
It feels like a new chapter. We're making a new style of game. It's going to be a good symbolic break and a new beginning.
And I'm sure it's nice to be on a team where the game that they're working on at that time is like a true passion project too.
It's really critical to our collaborative nature.
Well, I mean, definitely we'll miss some things about the old building. We went through a lot there, but I think this is I feel re-energized, to be honest. I feel like, I just feel pumped up for whatever's going to be next.
For me, I wasn't coming to work at Sony. I was coming to work on that franchise. When I played God of War 3, I was so excited about it. I just wanted to be part of that.
Oh, that's so cool.
If you're making a fighting game or a sports game, you build a team around what you need. And we had a team of people who loved God of War and a team of people who want to build that kind of game.
That's so important, to have a team of people that truly want the game to do well, that love it so much.
We had to throw it all out and we had to find a new hook for this game, something that could anchor everything that we were doing, but something that could also show that there's some change in all of it. And I'm not as creative as I would love to believe, so I always just pull things directly from my life. So I thought it was a totally
I feel like we all think
idea
that about
Kratos
ourselves
be
at
a
some
dad,
point.
And try to actually be a dad rather than use it as like a cutaway cinematic to describe whatever past he had.
Wait a second. Is that in the
It is such a
game?
departure for Kratos when the first thing you talk about is him being a dad, right? And his previous experience with being a dad was, murdering his family.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was gonna
and
say that's that moment. Oh my gosh.
Definitely gives people pause. I think the remainder, or the rest of the studio, the rest of the team, we had really worked together, this core group of 11 people, to find the best sort of version of what we were talking about. Initially, it wasn't even going to be his kid. I think the first pitch I gave was that we wouldn't even know what was happening. So it was like Kratos walking through the desert, because we were, in my mind, still doing Egypt initially. Wind, sand blowing all over the place as he's kind of crawling through. And then kind of stands up and crests over a dune and checks out this really fantastic, this ancient city. And then he kind of turns around and then says, "All right, follow me." And then we kind of reveal that there's a kid there.
We have a long journey ahead.
I think it was very little. It just at least got the spark. And then that was like, oh, wait, we should do this. We should try this. We should do this.
I can't believe that was initially what God of War 2018 was going to be.
Not at first. Definitely not at first. Just mainly because, from my perspective, it's I'm trying to think of, combat and what we can do next. And then I see this tiny kid running around Kratos, and I'm like, my God. It's all he's gonna do is slow him down. All he's gonna do is make things hard, and nobody wants that in the game.
Rolling. You ready to
wow.
Get your first knife?
Yeah.
Get in combat? Mm-hmm. Probably do some extra combat stuff. I think you're also gonna jump off of a box into John's arms. So we just need you to do a backflip. Can you do a backflip?
Actually, yes.
Really? I'm totally kidding. You can do a backflip?
Yes,
Proof.
Wow.
When I first did the audition, I thought it was a movie. Because it was just
Whoa!
some dialogue right there.
I don't think I've ever actually seen this kid in real life.
And we just did a fire scene.
He looks exactly like him in his voice. Holy sh!
Which I barely remember. No, we didn't do history today.
But you do that sometimes.
He is so cute.
Basically, when we actually present the game to the executives, this screen will be sitting on the television. It'll just be your face sitting at the fire, looping. And I'll be talking to them, and then when we actually start the game, I'll press a button, and that's when you'll hear your dad call you. So I'll press the button, and it'll be like...
The amount of talent in that kid, though.
Okay, cool.
And then I get the role, and then I go to
you
San Diego
did.
or something like that, and then all of that, and I'm like, wait, what? And it's a game, and it's God of War, and I'm like, what? And I'm super excited, but I was really confused. and it was just a bunch of emotions going through me.
Ooh, I can only imagine.
Yeah. I actually did that yesterday, where I'm supposed to get really mad at Kratos.
Like anger.
Ah!
More.
More?
More. Give it to me.
Okay. Ah!
Good.
Yeah, I just scream really loud.
Ooh.
It's really funny.
Oh my god, it's so interesting to get a look into this world. This is, wow.
You just kill that thing. It's not alive anymore. If it's got kids, they're all alone. So, think through that. It sucks. I know,
Oh my
right?
gosh, yeah.
Use that, okay?
I can't.
Wow. Oh my god, that's supposed to be the deer. That smile, though. Yeah, the things that they have to think in order to, like, elicit those emotions and stuff, like, because you actually have to feel it in order to, like, portray that. It's crazy.
You know, I mean, the vision was so clear, but it was also pretty ambitious. And at that time, we didn't really have a lot of that working.
It was fucking bad. It was too much, and nobody was really sort of giving an inch.
Okay, well, now what does that mean? Well, that means you go back to the drawing table and you do it again. And, you know, we've had even, I think, a shoe visit a little while ago in March where the second he left the room, I was like, that was not good. There's something that you know, in his facial expression that is telling us there's an issue here. And then, you know, Shannon calls a little while later and says, Shu had some notes.
I was horrified.
What?
Horrified how bad it was.
I think the team, you know, rightfully so, gets nervous when they hear like, oh, Shu's playthrough, you know, was not all positive, right? And people start to say, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? And it means we gotta solve this problem, right? Like we do every single day. And
like, this is a really big guy.
To think that they had to restart stuff,
and I still was
like, completely.
It was not a very good experience, not horrified. I think that he probably walked out of that room that first time going like, what the hell did we do? We just gave this guy a lot of money to make this game.
Don't scrap it though, just give him feedback. Let him make mistakes. That's how things get better.
Run far away from me.
But you have changed. You're not a monster.
The hunt for Kratos was very difficult. We were probably a month away from giving up. We were like that close where everybody started having this pull me aside conversation, and you start thinking about the reality of this. Like, maybe this is not gonna happen. Maybe you're not gonna find the perfect person.
My agent had called
They
me,
did. It's
and I
so
wasn't
cool knowing
really
that they did.
sold on auditioning for it. I know it sounds silly now. She's like, look, just read it. Just read the sides. And I read the sides. And I called my agent back. And I said, I thought you said this was a video game.
And when you lose control, when the rage takes you, that is me in your blood, eating away at any goodness your mother may have passed on to you. Run. Run far away from me.
But you have changed. You're not a monster.
That is exactly what I am.
Not to me.
Oh my gosh, it's so weird hearing his voice but seeing him. Ugh.
How this would be in a video game.
Come on, Slowpoke.
Ah, this is not me leading.
Oh my god, they're so cute. They're so cute together. Oh my goodness.
And, you know,
That's
it's
exactly
huge.
what I'm seeing is the chemistry. That's wow.
People will say, Kratos can't grow. He's just this, like, anti-hero who just kills things and bathes in their blood. And I'm like, you need to see a therapist. But I think it was a necessity.
He told me the story of the game. I think we were there for like an hour and a half. And I felt like I was sitting around a campfire. Like I wanted to just like roast marshmallows and just like, and then what happened? It's the story that draws me musically. That's where I get ideas. And I realized like this game has a really well thought out story and character arc. And I just thought I have to be involved in this.
What is God of War? Is Kratos the mascot, or is Greek mythology the mascot? I talked about, you know, potentially exploring other mythologies, and one of the guys had said, you know, I just don't understand how that would work. You know, what is Kratos gonna pop on a backpack and just walk to Scandinavia? You know, that just seems weird. And I was like, oh, right at that time I realized, like, I was like, oh, well, he doesn't have a backpack, but yeah. So they're gonna go out in the beginning of the game and fulfill the sort of dying wish of the mother. The mother wanted her ashes. She wanted to be burned and her ashes to be spread on the highest peak in all the realms. So that's kind of the driving force throughout the entire story, is that they are taking her ashes and heading to the highest peak. The overall theme of this is that the kid is going to teach Kratos how to be a human.
I love hearing the breakdown of this.
Each of them,
like what their intentions were and how well they nailed it. They are geniuses because I feel like they hit that on the head completely.
We are in the middle of nowhere right now. And we hear a hissing. There's the culprit.
No.
So, another adventure.
That sucks.
I'm documenting. You're documenting? Ready, guys? We're getting ready.
They're basically IRL vloggers.
Cue the soundtrack.
They're YouTubers now.
I'm gonna get run over. Stood still.
Whoa, what a cool building. I'm sorry, wait, where is this? I want to go here.
There's so much life that's happening around you, and you can feel it almost in the terrain. There was a number of really special moments there for me because of how magical the landscape is and the way that it just captures your soul.
I love watching nature documentaries too. Nat Geo Wild all day.
As I was looking around at the beauty of Iceland for the first time.
Iceland, okay.
It really hit me.
I want to go there so badly.
The path that we were on was the right path. I could see the game for the first time, truly in my heart.
That's how you know that they're doing the right thing, making the right choices in the right place, when it just feels good to you. I never even considered like the choir of women that would be behind that music, and what a treat to be on that team, to be in that choir.
Today is the closest language to Old Norse. What that means is a choir in Iceland would be able to read a phonetic spelling of Old Norse and do it correctly.
Wow.
So immediately all eyes were on Iceland as a possible place to do choir.
They really went for full authenticity on this, which is so, like, I respect that so much. So much. The amount of effort. Dudes' voices like that. You can hear the reverberation of, like, the lower voices. Where would games be, though, without the background music? Have you ever played a game without music in the background? Don't do it. I have done it. It's not even close to being the same.
I thought I was auditioning for Game of Thrones, I'm gonna be honest. I was pulling on a major Lady Stark moment with my monologue, and I was like,
you nailed it.
This is my moment.
She nailed it. Best monologue in any game I've ever played. Assuming she's talking about the one that I'm thinking.
Beautiful cinematic piece about father and son and mother and longing and relationships and with these gods and goddesses, and it was really exciting.
So they're going to meet Freya in a meet cute, really. She is going to give them a little bit more information on the world, help guide them to where they need to go, but also kind of start to create this relationship with both Kratos and the son that we kind of build throughout the entire game. She will send them off towards the mountain, and you get attacked like right away. She's totally not trying to screw you over and just sending you into a really bad place. It's a very hostile world that you're in. So, while we may not end up doing some of these exact things, I think it's cool to kind of get the
so damn cute.
Kind of imagine a little bit of what it was like to live like people in the pre-Viking era.
Wait, they have guns and we have knives?
Yeah. Survival.
One way or another.
Are they building a
What
shelter?
you're looking for is to make sure that you don't have any widowmakers, things that can fall and kill you.
Yeah, come help. You can do it.
He's just like, excuse me?
You want to help with the rest of it?
This is making me realize I have 0 survival skills.
Holy crap, this is exciting.
Audio? Camera.
This is our first day.
I have to pee.
Really? Now? Do not make me pull this volume over.
I won't.
I think as I was growing up in the earlier games, the family was sort of the individual extended family. My family lived farther away from me, so I was a lot more separated from them. So the work family became the entire family. Now, I have them intermixing.
Like, I had my daughter during production, and just the willingness to work around my schedule of having a newborn. And, you know, I had to take maternity leave in the middle of production, and, well, I know, so I came back.
I have 2 daughters, and a 4-year-old and 6-year-old. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Olivia.
I'm expecting, yes.
Yeah, and then they're raising families on the side and also still devoting so much to this.
Farting is allowed in the volume.
Only in the volume. If you need to fart, go next door.
I was playing around with just this melody. And at the last minute, I was like, it's so simple that I almost wrote it by accident. It was the last thing I did in sketching that theme. But I mean, I've come to really love it, and I think its simplicity is what makes it so powerful, and it represents Kratos. He's a man of few words. His theme should be a theme of few notes.
That is so that is so true. Musicians are amazing. They never fail to just blow my mind.
Verbal guy. It's not that he's not intelligent, because he was a general. He was very intelligent, but he's very efficient with what he says and when he feels like something needs to be said.
They nailed it with Kratos, Atreus, Freya, everybody.
E3 is a big opportunity for media to get a glimpse into what's going on with the various software as well as hardware.
It's bigger than Oscar night. I mean, it's huge. It's a chance where you get all these, you get all developers, you get all studios, everyone's just a fan of games.
Hello, this is the first of many diaries that I'm going to make during the soul-crushing process of making this game.
Oh.
It's been 3 years on this project. We are a month from our E3 demo alpha, which is the first E3
Oh my
demo
god,
we're
the
ever gonna do.
pressure.
The art director, who's been on the project from the beginning and actually been at Sony for over 10 years, is having his last day today.
Wow.
Which is the reason I'm probably starting to do these things. So that I can outwardly seem like I'm totally fucking fine with it, but inwardly then I can be completely questioning what the fuck is going to happen.
The amount of intense stress and pressure on these people for 3 years, what that would do to their bodies and their minds.
So being like 2 weeks away from E3, you know, we haven't really talked about or shown anything about our game. So like, it's like a pressure cooker right now, you know, we're like all boiling with excitement.
It is simply the target. Clear your mind.
Immediately when we show the E3 demo, you're gonna see a lot of introduction of story elements that weren't in these games before. And I know that, you know, some fans may have liked the just pure, like, just kill, 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 fight, fight, fight.
I'm always on the team of go for it, like, try something new. I don't want to get too comfortable with anything. That's just me.
After a very long time, we're gonna show anything to the world, so I hope people are just happy to see the change.
Really, I think I've been rehearsing that demo for a month. And it's just 9 minutes, but it's, to me, the most important 9 minutes of this game.
I almost feel the pressure for them.
We've seen so much in the last 20 minutes, and we haven't even started.
I know. So many exclusives, so much more to come. I'm excited to be surprised. I don't know what's gonna happen. You never know what's gonna happen.
I will try not to screw up. All right, I love you. Mwah. Ito, I love you. Papa Bush. Mwah. All right, you have a good day opening and closing doors.
The simple life, you know?
My wife talks about, she doesn't come home from work being a stay-at-home parent. She's constantly immersed in work. And I'm like, I kind of feel the same way. And I should be able to separate from it, but I have this like problem where my brain will not disengage. It was last night, it was 3 in the morning, and I'm like, I really need to sleep. I have to sleep, and I just could not stop. tossing and turning and
What are you doing?
going over both the positive and negative scenarios, you know, and one of them was trying to convince myself, you know, the positive scenario, and the other one was just worming its way in like an earworm, you know, like they're all gonna laugh at you. Maybe not that exactly, but
It's nice knowing that other people's brains do the same thing that mine does.
they could very much say, wow, that's great. This is a new direction. You know, gamers, I feel, have grown up the way that I have grown and the team has grown. We've all kind of moved to this next phase of gaming. I have no idea how people are gonna respond. Anything that anybody could say on the internet is still tame compared to what goes on inside here.
Right, right.
But
we can be our
there's
own
so
worst
many more
critics.
people at stake.
And sometimes those thoughts can make you feel so isolated. And I think it's so important to know that other people go through the exact same thing.
Oh my God, it's amazing. I can't believe we're here.
It's a crazy day. Corey Barlog on the big stage.
It's like 4 years in the making.
I'd be losing it.
How are you getting in?
I have no idea.
Do you have a hat?
Huh?
Do you have like a hat, a cap or anything?
You could not wear anything that identifies you as Santa Monica Studio. You can't talk about the studio when we were there. It was crazy.
Oh, good point. I didn't really think of it that way.
I would imagine that it's gotta be such a magical feeling to be a conductor. It's almost like the music is coming out of your fingertips when you're doing that. I'm excited for them.
Tell me how nervous you are right now.
Oh, freaking chills. Oh, I don't know if I could ever do what he's about to do.
That dome hammer doesn't scare me. Boom. Oh no!
Boy.
Stop.
Boy. Your mother's knife. It belongs to you now.
Oh my god. How is he being so cool about this?
She taught you to hunt, yes?
Yes, sir.
Then show me what you know. I am hungry. Feed us.
Holy shit. I would have just started, I would have just lost it. I would have started crying.
Ho, 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 whoa, 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 hold up, hold up.
Are these YouTube reactors?
What the? No, no. Oh!
This is like reactception right now. This is weird.
Raise my arms and hear that sound as he stepped out.
I am hungry.
His face.
I get chills even thinking about it. It was truly a once in a
Wow.
lifetime experience.
Oh.
Very rarely in life do you get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, feed us. Ah! You know, it's like...
Got him fucking whooped. Oh my god. Some of my friends are like, yeah, but also kind of like jealous at the same time.
Oh my god,
then,
I'd be
some of my
so
friends are,
jealous.
Really happy for me, like, bro, like I saw you in like God of War trailer. It was like so crazy, and they're like freaking out.
Corey's gonna play the game while we perform the score live to the gameplay, not a pre-rendered video.
Nah, Brett. Nah, son.
Oh my god, they're actually going into the gameplay. It was
section to section, like worrying to some degree about just how it will play.
Punch him in the fucking face, son! Holy shit! That's a white boy. Whoa! What the? Whoa! What is this? This is the best game so far that have ever been shown at E3.
And that's just this little tiny piece of what this game is gonna be.
Yup.
This game is gonna be good.
Oh my gosh.
This game is gonna be so fucking good.
The high that they had to feel for days after this was...
Now, you are ready.
Yo, dragons! Dude, I can't right now.
That one guy's face.
What a way to start the show, huh? The live demo of God of War.
I do and I don't envy them at the same time because I could not imagine the pressure.
You know, but the scary thing was, like, we showed 10 minutes and 45 seconds or something, and it took 1.5 years to get there. And now we have 1.5 years left, essentially. And we have, like, 30 hours to make. And you're kind of scratching your head, like, how is that humanly possible?
Anything we have to say, we usually say it. So, and I think that's what makes the team
Yup,
work. You know,
honesty.
You don't settle for crap that you see. If you see crap, then you identify it and you say it right to the person's face, hopefully with
Good
fists
for them.
and bat in your hand to make sure that they change it.
And artists tend to be a little bit introverted, dramatic, read into things, very sensitive, because, you know, you're an artist. That's natural. It's all okay. But every single person that I need to deal with needs to be dealt with in a different way.
With a team of our size, the ideas are constantly flowing. There's so much feedback. There's so many things that need to be done. Sometimes you just want to, you know, go to each individual person and say, stop thinking, just do this, right? Like, don't look at all these other things, just look at this and do
Don't
this.
overthink
you can't
it.
do that.
But then the opposite's true as well, right? Because I remember, like, you and I had many fights about how, like, the Draga reveal should work. And eventually it just came down to, like, I have a plan for this, leave me alone. I've got an idea here, go away.
Translating the room,
Huh.
digging into things.
It's amazing to see what can be created when you have a good sense of teamwork and you're not afraid to speak up, but also be receptive to feedback.
This understanding of the process and how all the pieces fit together and how the players are going to understand the final product that you're delivering.
Probably the most challenging thing is just people love this character so much, and there is a lot of pressure to make sure that those people feel like we're doing that character who's so important to them justice.
And right now, once you go in there and you have all the doors around you, you don't know how the hell to get back out to the bridge. Right now, the only doors that are in there lead to realms. Right? Are you with me? Oh my god, your AI broke. Yes.
Balrog.exe has stopped working? Or is it Barlog? Did I just call him Balrog? I'm done. This game has like some of the best design I've ever seen. They threw things in here that I would have never thought of, ever. Like a turtle house. Turtle tree house.
I also need lamb's cress. Do you mind? It's a white petal flower in my garden. Just a handful.
You better work,
Fine. Lamb's cress.
Lamb's cress. It's like I gotta do
God of War.
That's amazing. I hope you guys keep that in there.
That's amazing.
Nicole Kidman gone there.
Oh, good. So nobody bigger than me. I mean, good to see you.
Good to see ya.
Have you missed me?
No, not really.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
They probably got
man.
so close.
It's okay to love, dog.
Yeah.
You gotta, you know, don't forget that.
Emotions are good.
It's okay to love. Love
Don't
is
be afraid
first,
of them.
Followed closely by hate and divorce and alimony. Those are the things we teach kids on set.
Working with them would be a blast, I bet. Designing the Valkyries.
Now you gotta top Valkyrie and final boss. No pressure.
Sig Run was not sig fun, okay?
So I've heard I'm the first woman in the combat design team at the studio ever.
Yay! What? That's crazy.
When I heard that, I went, oh, you know, that's
reality
actually really
of that.
cool. That's not scary. It's cool.
I think my generation, there was definitely a lot less women in video games, but when I see the younger generation, there's a much larger portion of the people applying in that are women now.
Good. If I knew how to do any of this stuff, I would. I would in a heartbeat.
Wasn't there, you would have hit me in the nuts.
He was like,
Good, you deserve it.
In their defense, you do deserve it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Priority, obviously, you can't step over any project meeting.
Yeah, because we have a, okay.
Yeah, apparently our project meeting is so important. Just kidding.
The look on her
There's just no way that
face.
this type of activity happens from any type of top-down endeavor. It
No,
is
not at all.
every single person, every day, right?
Yeah.
Kind of figuring it out. And it's like, again, like with your kids, you kind of equip them in the best way that you can, and then you got to solve it yourself, and for that freedom,
just let it
you'll
go.
be accountable to it.
My mother said, everyone is smarter than you in something.
Yep.
And if you don't figure out what it is and learn from it, that's your fault.
Yes, yes,
She
can
taught me
be.
that every person I meet,
Wow.
it's my duty to be open to receiving what people have to offer. You know, don't discount anyone.
This is exactly why I always have said that I find other people's experiences so important to listen to. Hearing other people's perspectives, experiences, accounts of something that happened is just as important as your side of the story as well, because there's so much that you can learn from every single perspective, every single person's experience. The amount of knowledge that you can take away from somebody just telling you their story or their experience, like, invaluable.
Do we have information on all of these playtesters? They are giving us nothing on their faces.
They should hire me. They'd be like, oh, she is not pleased. She is very happy. You read this like a book.
Yeah, I always shudder when I say this, but I started in 1989 as a game tester at Sega. And when I finished school, I had no idea that they paid people to test games.
Jason is gonna give...
There was a hot second in my life where I wanted to be a QA tester.
That's true. She could be smiling beneath the frame. I'm gonna go with I believe she's smiling beneath the frame. Yeah, this is a little small.
Poor them, that's so funny.
What are your predictions? Do you think they're going to give it really good scores, really bad scores? With that, the lack of facial expression, I can't tell where any of them are at. If they are enjoying it, if they're bored.
I am not a blocker in God of War. Never have been.
Oh my God, preach. Thank you. There's more of us. Thank you.
Oh yeah, turn it up, turn it up.
My question is, why didn't the sun ever get attacked? Because someone's just kind of like, hey, I'm here. I'm like your OP, like, freezer. Yeah.
OP freezer?
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
He's definitely on the OP side.
But it's fun. I love being OP. I would never complain about that.
During the playtest, I was really OP to me.
So like it felt really like I didn't even have to pay attention to him, and he was just kind of like a fairy sitting on my shoulder, like shooting stunning arrows, and it was really overpowered and it felt really cheap.
Yeah, I could definitely. Balance is needed for sure.
You have to get 150 people who are very stubborn and passionate and creative to all see a similar picture that doesn't exist. And doubt is the demon that lives in the ear of every person in this industry. That is, to me, the biggest obstacle. Keeping everyone focused on the goal and not listening to that little demon in their ear that says, they're all gonna laugh at you and it's not gonna work, right? And it's like, I have the exact same thing in both ears constantly.
I think that's just what it's like to live, to doubt all the time.
A lot of what we're doing is not simply throwing every single thing out. It's looking at the DNA of what God of War is and finding out the mountain we had to climb to kind of change this franchise. It is the traditional sort of child coming of age, but it's also Kratos.
Large
kind of
for a
coming of
small
age.
boy.
The idea of Kratos being a closet human being. right? Somebody who hides his humanity, somebody who is shunned and run away from it. So we've always kind of kept it a little bit open just to allow people to freely play with it, but now we're gonna start really honing in on forcing people to have to use the sun to create opportunities. I think everybody recognizes we get one shot. We screw this up, I don't see us making another one. You know,
It's so sad though.
It's a massive bet.
It's like a do or die type thing, really. Yeah. I don't envy them. I don't. 2013.
It's an interesting approach because in the last ones, you know, how he killed his family, and in this one, he's actually got something left, so it might be interesting how they use him.
Hello everyone, I'm Corey Barlog. I'm the director of the game, and I make their lives completely miserable on a daily basis. That's really it. That's the best description.
All right, well, let's get to it because we have a lot of questions going on. You know, this is a big reimagining of God of War, so I think my first question really would be for Shannon. You guys were, I guess the fairest way to say it is at a crossroads a couple years ago for the studio.
You know, as we were kind of at that crossroads, it was really apparent to me that we needed to really look for a new beginning and someone that could tell that new beginning in a way that causing problems.
So here we need a face of black.
It's like, this is like what families are like.
I realized that when I made the first and second game, I was a very different person than I am today.
So he was on all of the. That's crazy. That is wow.
Growth, people.
So he's really invested in this, like deeply invested.
It helps to work with absolutely great people. I am surrounded by people that are so much better than me.
It's been tough. It's been tough the last, you know, few years. It's never easy balancing all these personalities and all this
Egos, definitely. Egos clashing is always like the thing that causes problems, really, if you think about it.
Every story that you tell, everything that you make, you have to have some kind of personal connection to it, some kind of truth that comes from your own life.
Passion.
We've changed everything from the combat to the mechanics to including the sun to the environment to everything is different, new, and fresh.
They really had a one-of-a-kind opportunity because they not only had to try to appease the entire fan base from the first 3 games, but now they also, obviously because you want the franchise to do better. It's always about like building on what you did before. Even quotas, like if you're ever in sales, like quotas always kind of have to outdo the past and all of that progress. So they had a unique job, which was to appease the older generation, but then also attempt to bring on an entire new player base, which is so hard to do, so hard to bring people and kind of hook them like immediately to keep them and maybe turn them into lifelong fans of the series.
I find myself sometimes terrified at the decisions that we're making.
We made the choice. We gotta figure out how to make that shit work.
You know, we bump in together every once in a while.
Sure.
But it's all for the good of the ultimate goal of greatness.
I'm so thankful every single day that they're the ones that have to do the hard work.
And it's so nice to see a director too, somebody who was behind all this kind of like also let people like to kind of just step out of the way sometimes and really let everybody have a voice. That is so important.
Look at that. Fuck. There's no reason at this phase that the log should just be walking on its own. It's the magic log right there.
So currently we have about 3,878 total bugs in the database. We're supposed to be at 0 bugs right now.
This is a good example of like the average scenario that happens in a day in my life.
Bye!
Now I'm looking at the game as a whole going, there's no way we're gonna stabilize this.
Oh my god, seriously, can we go out there and tell them to fucking stop?
I know many of you have been pushing really hard to been asking people to step up their hours, their time spent in the studio. I know people have made some compromises to make this work and to bring home the result that the studio needs. So to those of you who've been pushing hard towards these goals, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think
And I really did believe, I think 4 weeks ago, that we were on target. We were absolutely no problem going to make the date. The scary, scary thing is I really really don't know.
Which means beg for more time.
Oh, they should always be given more time.
When you guys were first brought on this thing, do you have any idea what to expect?
Father, help me! Probably not.
You know, as a father of 4 children, it's interesting that you know, this has been a man who has missed 10 years of his child growing up, and I really found some parallels with my own life there because I was working on a show and I basically missed 10 years of my kids growing up. So it's just it's an interesting dynamic for me. You know, it's you know, a little closer to home than I'd like it to be.
Like life being reflected back at you in something that's...
What are the sacrifices that you guys have
sad.
to go through to protect something like this legacy, to have a secondary family?
They're like, who wants to go first?
I am, you know, very fortunate in the sense that I have a home sort of, you know, network and a husband and parents and children that are very, very supportive and very much, you know, are as excited about what we're doing here as, you know, I think I am, and I have it pretty good. So I feel very fortunate.
I'm sure it's been hard.
I don't think I want to answer this right now.
I have an interesting story. I think I might be
sure. Oh, this makes me miss being in choir.
What does this goal mean to you?
It's everything.
Follow me.
Oh my gosh.
Why help us?
Maybe I see more of myself in you than I'm willing to admit. Maybe by helping you, I'll make up for a lifetime of mistakes. Or maybe I just like you.
I mean, there's lots of different methodologies on how to be vulnerable in a scene or how to be connected to an emotional scene where your son is basically saying, you ruined my life, I hate you, and I never want to see you again. It was right around the time of I was going through a divorce, so that wasn't difficult for me to be in a space that was vulnerable and fractured and confused. Like, it wasn't supposed to turn out this way. It's my job as an actress to keep myself in that space of like being permeable and being affected by what's happening in the moment. And so if I can recall what those feelings were like with my ex-husband, then I can understand some of the pain that Freya's going through with someone that she loved and had the best intentions for, but who it's just not going the way that she had hoped.
Crazy how our emotions and our experiences can be our tools, our greatest tools.
You know, I think as an actor, you always want to feel safe. You always want to, because when you do choose to do that, you can't bring yourself out of it. It takes some decompression. The scene when I go back and get the blades of chaos.
Ah, yeah.
It was probably not real early on, but early on in the filming. And that's kind of what I was like, do I want to go there? Because this was a moment.
Do I want to go into the past?
Take the scab off it as a person, as a human being. This is where it is.
There's nowhere you can hide, Spartan. Put as much distance between you and the truth as you want. It changes nothing. Pretend to be everything you are not. Teacher, husband, father. But there is one unavoidable truth you will never escape. You cannot change. You will always be a monster.
I know. A lot of this performance, for me, is a love letter to my kids. It's an apology. Yeah. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
That is so sad.
No, those.
I could see it in everybody's eyes that they were just like, we're not gonna make it. And then,
I see his last name and I always think Balrog.
I'm not gonna let myself believe we're gonna make the date now. Now I'm just gonna try to adjust to the April.
That changes. Well, that means you're not going to Europe next month.
No.
But February.
But 4 years of a marathon, you don't want to stop running in the last 200 feet.
Nope. I'm so glad they didn't quit. I'm so glad everything worked out. That is the cutest dog I think I've ever seen. Sorry, Toby.
I didn't see what a sacrifice was until you start sort of living the sacrifice. You start feeling the sacrifice, if that makes any sense.
Yep, makes sense.
We as working parents always wonder and question, do we really spend enough time with our children? I carry that with me every day, and I never have the right answer. All I can do is be the best I can be in those moments that I do have my children, and that I'm really able to engage, and hopefully the stresses of the job, don't get in the way of me being the best parent that I can be.
The 20th, which is Friday the 20th, we cannot go any earlier because...
Yeah, well, quite frankly, Assad, we don't want earlier.
Yeah, no, I think it works for you guys. I think it works for everyone. So at the end of the day, and I keep saying this to everyone, is that at the end of the day, that game comes out, it's going to be amazing, everyone's going to go bananas, and no one's going to remember all the date shifts.
Right, we just have to actually make it through this period without
I wish people were more okay with more time being spent. If you really want a good project, it doesn't matter.
You're either doing everything or you're doing nothing. For me, it's like being normal is what I struggle with. Like taking time off. Like, why don't we take a vacation or just like any of these things? Just even saying them, it's like, what am I saying? It's so alien to me. And I think it's, I'm feeling it. It's time to take the foot off the gas a little bit.
FQA submit has moved to March 9th. And gold and release to manufacturing moves to March 15th, which pushes the game's release from March 13th to April 20th.
420, right? Yeah.
And I believe it is a first step in many, many games that we're going to make that will, I think, really redefine what the studio is. So I'm very proud to work with everybody here.
Knowing hindsight 2020, right? It's so funny knowing what we know now and seeing like their entire process.
We are supposed to be going gold today, so now we're gonna go see if Yumi has any idea of whether or not we're making a disc today.
So we're at a point where QA is testing round the clock, getting new issues.
F Niflheim. I'm just gonna say that place is hard.
What's going on?
I was walking by someone's desk today, and I saw something that had been updated, and I was like, wow, that looks amazing. He's like, yeah, this just came in. And I was like, dude, we just have to finish this game. If we finish this game, it will be awesome. There's so much good stuff.
I mean, the game's a bloody masterpiece. Cinematics, gameplay, combat, voice acting. They picked really good music to like build that tension and anxiety for what they were up against.
There it is. Stand here and watch a progress bar.
Probably about an hour.
Dude, I'm not gonna stand here for an hour. That's crazy.
1 hour later.
A lot of disagreements and a lot of passion went into making this blank disc. For all of you watching, this is how we used to play games back in the 90s. This is a
What is that dinosaur technology?
There's your boy. Oh, this is wonderful.
Oh.
Kratos actually joined the Tree Preservation Society. Super into trees now.
He had a spiritual awakening now. He loves trees. As he chops a tree down.
This tree is a metaphor for the franchise of God of War. And at the very beginning of the franchise, we chopped that fucker down. So that we could chop it up and then carry it around and then burn it.
And then burn it.
For me, what I would love to see that from this game, what we're pushing is dramatic context, you know, reason, the concept of why. Why am I here? Why am I doing these things? Why do I care as a player? Like, engaging people on a more emotionally visceral level than just revenge, killing, you know, which is great. Combat's fun. It's the way you communicate with the environment in so many games. But I think games that feel repetitive and boring are because there's no strong sense of why. You don't feel connected at all
no depth,
to the world.
Emotional depth.
I think that what makes a great strong character is absolutely what makes a great strong human, because when you're embodying a character, you're embodying the life of a human that is some parts of many things within the mind of the writer, and they pulled from some person that they know in their life, and so it is a living, breathing thing.
Yep. Multi-layered. And then to have the job of bringing that to life is...
We all, as a family, had to balance. And were there struggles? Were there tears? Of course there was. But that's life.
Yeah.
You get through it, and we're all still around, and everyone kind of grew from those moments.
That was the last.
Oh, when you're chosen as the face of these characters, like, to be a part of that person's vision for that character is, I'm sure, unreal.
That's a very good question. What is the nature of Kratos?
This seems like so long ago. I'm almost like I forgot and I'm relearning that happened.
Mother, do they call to me?
So this game, God of War, this iteration is probably the most personal project I think I've worked on in my entire career.
That is the true challenge of parenting, is not to sit there and hide the world from them, but to prepare them, you know.
Go through the pain.
Yeah, to go through the pain.
Yep.
You are free.
And for me, I think as a writer, the most interesting challenge is to take a character that you have made intentionally an anti-hero and actually turn them around.
I think a difficult thing for anybody is the time you put into it. At the end of the day, we're going to spend nearly 4.5, almost 5 years on this thing. 5 years. 5 years, and at the end, you have one thing. And then one day, it's out there, and either everybody loves it, or everyone hates it, or even worse, they're indifferent, and it's just crickets.
Oh.
We have great jobs, we're not complaining. But there is a sacrifice. You know,
Oh, yeah.
You know, we would question, like, is this worth it?
Why am I doing this? Yep.
How he goes from Greek mythology to Norse mythology, but I'm interested to see how it happens.
I wasn't okay with it until my kid said, Dad, we know. We know why you were working. We know why you missed stuff. You know? I was never okay till it.
Something's happening.
This is so deep. This got so deep.
By now, I had read through this remarkable adventure. And the one thing I got out of it was this character's love for his son.
Oh, look at that. PlayStation Europe retweeted. PlayStation retweeted. Oh, seriously.
That's us. The first time we met the...
Wow, the timing of that. That's us, but they're looking at Twitter.
Art reflects
This documentary
life,
is
art
perfection.
reflects life, and that's why we have it, so we don't feel so alone. So we see these stories, whether they're folklore, mythology,
Please
made
play her
up
scene
or real, is
with her
because
son.
this thing called life is interesting and confusing, and it's wonderful and it's horrible.
Oh, yep.
And it's all these things, and here we are.
From the beginning, it was, you know, we have the potential to make a defining game, and you know, to this day, I say we have the potential to make a defining game.
all these drawings?
They nailed it. They nailed it.
This is our story.
1 week before the release of God of War, members of the press were finally allowed to publish their reviews of the game. Corey was among the first to check the reviews online.
I'm hitting enter now.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! His reaction is
and thank God it's not on the front page, so I could stall just a little bit more. Information is not there on the front page of what God of War is yet. I'm clicking on games now. Holy shit.
Can't even imagine like what that would feel like. God of War was released worldwide on 4/20/2018, receiving 40 perfect review scores and a total average review of 94. What? I want to know exactly what that feels like. Reviews were told in the first 3 days release, and after only 3 months, God of War became one of the fastest selling exclusives in PlayStation history. And it won Game of the Year. And I wonder how it felt that they did it again with Ragnarok. Have you seen those reviews?
You get it because you work really
did it again.
crazy hard and sacrifice for something else, you know? You're just kind of, I guess, like a parent. You're gonna sacrifice, work really hard, and then they're gonna fucking hate you in 15 years and not talk to you for 10 years, and then they're gonna be like, hey, I remember why you were pretty good.
Oh my god, that was fantastic. It's not done. Corey Balrog.
This game is big.
Barlock.
This is a big, special, great game. God of War is back on PS4. This game changes the franchise in a number of huge ways.
It's a bold and risky move, one that paid off in spades as one of the greatest games of all time.
God of War is a masterful composition of exceptional interlocking parts.
Santa Monica Studio is taking us all to Valhalla.
Final score 10.
There was a lot of fucking doubt on this project, but it was you people every day coming in and doing what you do that made this a reality.
The game is a masterpiece. The most well thought out and well paced game in quite a long time.
Yes, it is.
Hands down, game of the year.
Yes.
What I want the takeaway to be is like, wow, this was necessary. This was interesting. This was different. This was engaging.
This game is just fucking incredible. God of War doesn't just feel like the next step for the franchise, but the entire video game industry.
Yup.
Yes.
Yup.
Wow, you're so good.
Yes, I've been waiting to do that.
We're joined by Corey Barlog.
Corey, of course, is the creative director of God of War.
The father-son dynamic is obviously...
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the beating heart of the game.
I wouldn't say I had any doubts about if we could do it, because the talent at the studio is absolutely amazing. And there are people here that won't let this game fail. I consider myself one of those.
I do this because I want to make something beautiful.
You have to want it to be good. You have to want it.
Ah, this game already got me in the
And you want people to love it as much as you do, too. Ah, Mars, how cool! Jacksepticeye, how cool!
Kratos is back.
But to be in the documentary, though, oh my lord, I would
And the game award for Game of the Year
lose it.
goes to God of War.
Oh my god, what if Ragnarok does the same thing? I kind of hope it does. I really hope it does.
My children and all of the families throughout the God of War team, and you guys, the fans around the world. Together, we all dream big dreams. Thank you, everyone.
Oh my god, probably one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. The creators would like to dedicate this film to the loyal and undying fans of God of War, as well as all of those who have traveled the chaotic roads of the development process. This was a unique opportunity to show the world how much the fans are a part of the family and to tell the story of those unsung heroes who go unnoticed in the trenches of the struggle we call production. Your passion and efforts are greatly appreciated and will never be forgotten. Thank you for giving us a reason to tell this story, and thank you as a fan, as somebody who loves the game so much. Thank you for everything that you sacrificed for such an amazing game. Not even a game, such an amazing experience. And this might be me being biased, so I'm gonna be genuine and honest about that. Straight up with you, I'm biased, but I kinda hope that God of War Ragnarok gets Game of the Year for 2022, because how cool would it be for that to happen to them again, for that studio to feel that all over again, when they did this, they probably were like, this is it for us, you know, like, will we ever be able to recreate such a feeling ever again? I really hope they do. I cannot wait to play Ragnarok. You're right, for everybody who's like, you need to watch this, and we really hope you can watch this before you play God of War Ragnarok, because this will have completely changed the way I look at the next game, and also the way I look at the 2018 game now in retrospect. I already can't wait to play that game over again, knowing what I know now again, and especially knowing what I know in terms of like Norse mythology as a whole. Like, my knowledge before I played the game to now completely changed, total 180. I mean, I'm not even like the same person with what I know, but for a video game to inspire me to go out and read, go read and watch videos and stuff and just learn as much as I can about mythology, about something that is so deeply embedded in cultures. Honestly, so cool that a game can do that to somebody, that it can make you love it so much and have this attachment where you just want to know and absorb as much information about it as possible. This was such an emotional documentary, and I honestly love things that elicit such a visceral reaction, because it reminds me that I'm human too, and to see their struggles and everything, it's like I have so much more compassion and empathy now for something that I didn't know really too much about beforehand. And that's really going to change the way I look at the development process, and even games going into the future. Like, when something doesn't really live up to your expectations, I think for me personally, it's really important to take a step back and pause for a moment and realize that even though you might not like it, there is somebody behind the scenes, behind that curtain, that put their blood, sweat, and tears into this project. And it is probably a passion project for somebody. And even that alone, that thought, you know, makes you look at what you've just experienced a little bit differently too, and it gives you an appreciation for that. Video games as a whole just mean so much to me. When they deliver something like this to you and you can actually see and feel the love and the passion behind it, the amount of inspiration you can just get from experiencing something like this is, again, invaluable. I'm so glad I watched this, and I'm so glad I watched it in time before being able to play Ragnarok. I finally have a PlayStation 5. I am still so sad that I'm gonna be starting the game well after everybody else has already played it. So if you're playing it right now, or if you plan on playing it very, very soon, I really hope you guys enjoy it. I'm gonna be staying off the internet because I want to go into this as blind as humanly possible. If you guys are looking forward to my playthrough of God of War Ragnarok, make sure to like, subscribe, and click that bell button, because I don't want to miss it. I hope you don't want to miss it. I really hope you want to come along on that ride with me. This game that they're talking about in this documentary meant so much to me and taught me so much, and it is teaching me so much. When you look at the whole Norse mythology thing, I am walking away with so much more knowledge than I started with. I know the game's going to be good. I have full faith that Ragnarok is going to be just as good, maybe even a little bit better than the first game. I'm sorry, I said it. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching this video with me. I hope I don't have to edit too much down, but I don't know as of recording this right now, so we'll just have to see when it's released. Again, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.